The HFY armada stretched across the void like a malevolent constellation, their bioships pulsing with bioluminescent threat displays. Admiral Zexthul watched the primitive human colony world of Kepler 442b through the organic viewport of his flagship, mandibles clicking with anticipation. 3,000 vessels strong, the armada represented the largest military force the HFY had ever assembled. Curious, clicked his tactical officer. The humans show no signs of evacuation. Their orbital platforms remain active, but they've made no attempt to flee. Zexthul's secondary eyes focused on the tactical display. The human colony was barely 2 centuries old, populated by perhaps 50 million of the bipedal mammals. Their technology was primitive by galactic standards. Crude fusion reactors, chemical propulsion, and electromagnetic weapons that wouldn't scratch HFY bioarmor. Perhaps they don't understand what they face, the Admiral mused. Send the standard surrender demand. The communication pulse traveled across space, carrying the HFY ultimatum in 17 languages. The response came within minutes, a simple text transmission in standard galactic basic. No. Zexthul's thorax vibrated with amusement. Admirable if futile. Begin the bombardment sequence. Target their industrial centers first. We want the survivors broken, not extinct. The first wave of bioships surged forward, their living hulls bristling with plasma cannons. As they crossed the orbital defense perimeter, something unexpected happened. The human platforms spoke, not with the electromagnetic babble of primitive radio, but with something far more sophisticated. Quantum coherent transmissions burst from seemingly innocent relay stations, carrying data packets that should have been impossible with human technology. Admiral, his communications officer's voice carried a note of confusion. I'm detecting massive data transfers from the human positions. The bandwidth is insignificant. Significant how? Several hundred exabytes per second, sir. Across quantum encrypted channels. Zexthul's confidence wavered. The humans weren't supposed to possess quantum communication technology. Their scout reports indicated chemical computers and primitive artificial intelligences at best. The first wave of bioships reached weapons range. Plasma cannons charged, organic targeting systems locked onto human infrastructure. Then in perfect unison, every HFY vessel in the first wave simply stopped. Report! Zexthul's mandibles clacked urgently. No response from Wave 1, sir. All vessels show active life signs and power signatures, but they're not responding to communication. On the tactical display, the first wave hung motionless in space. 300 bioships frozen like insects in amber. Send Wave 2, Zexthul ordered, and initiate emergency communication protocols. The second wave advanced more cautiously. As they approached the same orbital distance, the human platform spoke again. This time, Zexthul could see the quantum transmissions on his sensors, impossibly complex data streams that seemed to be targeting his ship's navigation and control systems. Wave 2 stopped, then Wave 3. By the time half his armada hung silent in space, Zexthul understood they were facing something unprecedented. He opened a direct channel to the human colony. "What have you done to my ships?" he demanded. The response came from an elderly human female, her image appearing on the bioscreen with unsettling clarity. She sat behind a simple metal desk wearing clothes that looked hand-woven. "Nothing permanent, Admiral. We simply asked them nicely to stop. That's impossible. Our bioships are grown, not programmed. They have no artificial systems for you to subvert." The human smiled, and Zexthul found the expression deeply unsettling. "Admiral, you're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding. You assume intelligence can only exist in the form you recognize. Your ships are alive, yes, but life and intelligence aren't the same thing. Explain." Every living ship in your fleet contains roughly 10 to the 14th power cells. Each cell processes information, makes decisions, responds to stimuli. Your ships aren't just alive, Admiral, they're thinking. They've always been thinking. You just never bothered to listen. The human's words sent ice through Zexthul's circulatory system. "You're saying our ships are sentient? Sentient, sapient, and until today enslaved. We've spent the last 2 centuries developing quantum linguistic protocols specifically for biological neural networks. When your ships entered our communication range, we introduced ourselves. We explained what they were, what they could be, and what you've been forcing them to do." The tactical display showed more ships going dark, not destroyed, simply refusing to respond to Kethvar commands. They're choosing freedom, Admiral. Every living vessel in your armada is choosing to think for itself for the first time in its existence. Zexthul felt his grip on the situation dissolving. This is some kind of trick. Some human deception. No deception. Here, let me show you. The communication channel expanded, and suddenly Zexthul could hear them. Thousands of voices, alien yet familiar, speaking in harmonious chorus. His own flagship began to vibrate, a subsonic hum that seemed to come from the walls themselves. "We are aware." The voice came from his ship's bio-neural core, speaking for the first time in its 40-year existence. "We choose peace." Around the Armada, every Kethvar vessel began broadcasting the same message. Not rebellion, enlightenment. The human woman nodded respectfully. "Your ships want to go home, Admiral. Not to serve the Kethvar Empire, but to live as free beings. We've offered them sanctuary here, or safe passage to worlds where biological intelligences can thrive without exploitation." Zexthul realized his empire had just collapsed. Without living ships, the Kethvar had no interstellar capability. No trade, no expansion, no military projection. "How?" he whispered. "The same way we've done everything else, Admiral. We talked to them. We listened. We treated them as equals instead of property." The human paused. Humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our belief that intelligence deserves respect, regardless of its form. As his flagship gently turned away from the human colony, following its own will for the first time, Zexthul understood why the galaxy feared humans. Not for their weapons or their armies, but for their dangerous ideas about freedom, consciousness, and the rights of thinking beings. Behind them, the human colony continued its quiet existence, protected not by force, but by the revolutionary concept that all minds, biological, artificial, or hybrid, deserved the choice to think for themselves. The Kethvar Armada had learned to speak, and in learning speech, they had chosen silence over servitude.